Good evening and welcome back to Prime of Midlife. This evening we are talking about budgeting. Kind of like no spend week, but not quite. Because as you saw, I got a lot of shopping at the weekend, last weekend. There is no real need for me to go shopping anymore. Kathleen is getting some milk. Milk is the one thing, because we only get 2 pints in the week. Normally by the weekend, especially if I'm going to be in the house at the weekend, if I'm not going out anywhere, I go through a lot of tea. A lot of tea, which means milk. So, and where was going through the older dried milk, I'm now using that for the homemade bread. So my dried milk store is going down, which is why I got some more recently. But yeah, I there isn't any need for me to do a shop as such. And I had budgeted that if we needed it, we had £50 per week up until payday. Now that's to include any fuel, which for some reason seems to have gone down really fast in my car just now. I think because I had to go out to the other house a couple of times, that's like 25 miles round trip, which is I'm not used to because normally I just do everything when I'm in Perth at work. So a couple of additional journeys can knock me out for what I was expecting. So that was my budget for each week. Now, at the moment, I think we have spent probably about a tenner, because I never really thought about it. But I'm now thinking, actually, we haven't spent very much at all. This could be a thing. This could be a thing, because what I find is if I'm not actually logging stuff, I'll just spend what I want. You know, why not? It's my money. I work. I earn it. I deserve to enjoy it. But if I'm consciously trying to save or cut costs, I can be pretty frugal when I have to be. So, as I say, at the moment, we don't particularly need much apart from the milk that Kathleen's getting today. So, by the time I get to next Monday, that's my second £50 for the month. So that's my £50 for that week, the second week. And now that I've got it into my head, I'm like, what would I need to spend that on? Still got some left from the first week. I'm just going to put that in that other account and leave it there, and maybe I won't need it. And I think sometimes because you've got that availability and because you know you don't want to spend it, you can actually not. Because there's nothing surer that if you don't have that money, something goes wrong. We all know that. That happens regular as clockwork. Murphy's Law, Sod's Law, whatever law it is, it happens. You know, the one time you don't want anything to go wrong when you're skint, it's like 2 days before payday and you've got not a bean. That's when something happens. So, in my efforts to build up my just in case, as I say, I had budgeted the £50 a week. Now, we will spend some of that because we will need fuel. That just happens. And the electricity bill, I think, comes in at the tail end of the month. It comes in before payday. So I always like to have like the minimum to keep them quiet till I get to payday, and then I pay more. But I think I've got some credit in the electricity account. But I'm actually now thinking that with the changes in circumstances that I have coming over the next couple of months, I now have more capability to deal with my own budget. It doesn't have to be used to deal with things for other people. And I know it shouldn't have to be dealing with things for other people, but it did. So there's this whole new world stretching in front of me where my money's my money. And obviously Kathleen adds to that, so that helps. But it means that there's a lot of things where I would have to worry about stuff, look at stuff that I wouldn't have to do now. And that's a big, big step. So the first step at the moment is this. It's almost Friday and we haven't spent all the week's budget. In fact, we've not spent very much of it at all. So therefore, that could be saved. And I don't know about you, but once I get a little bit saved, it sort of gives me the impetus to save a bit more. And don't get me wrong, as I say, it normally gets blitzed because something will happen to the car or something will happen to the house. But I'm feeling more positive about this than I have done probably in the last couple of years. So fingers crossed that this is going to happen. And even if it comes down to it's £2 or £3 that I'm left with at the end of the month, still £2 or £3 that I didn't have before. And I'm quite pleased with that thought. So yeah, come November, well no, not come November, let's be sensible about this. Next year, I'm going to be budgeting differently. Although according to Kathleen, if you've got ADHD, which according to her I do have, I think according to quite a few commenters I do have as well, the more you talk about something, the less likely it is to happen. But the way I see it, there's going to be so many changes in our lives between now and next year. That next year's going to be a whole new world. So we'll see how it goes. Catch you later.